Has this not been...
Oh no. Oh no. Oh my gosh. My microphone has not been recording this entire thing. Oh, okay, that's egg on my face. I am so sorry. Okay. Okay, I see why my view count has gone up and down a couple of times, because it looks like I'm just gesticulating and not saying anything. Oh boy. Okay. So let me actually go back and start kind of talking through what we have here. Okay, so here are my note points from previous streams and such. Oh man, that is embarrassing. How long have I been going at this? It's been over an hour. Damn, I am so sorry. I mean, I guess sometimes that happens, but jeez. Next time something like that happens, please throw something in chat so that I can address. Okay, so our previous drafted version of this archetype, we had been theorizing that the totem would gain temporary hit points, would deal a little bit of bonus damage, and like have higher resistances here. Hang on a second. This is the bear, I believe. Yeah, that's the bear totem. Okay, so we were going to kind of skew off of this just because there is a similarity between Totem of the Bear and Totem of the Wolf. And we were going to try and do a pack tactics style gameplay here, where you gain different bonuses based on the number of allies within 10 feet of you that you can proceed. So we were borrowing some ideas here from the duelist class, which gains panache similar to our idea of what pack tactics could be here. So we had that is what we were working with. So if I rotate back over to, oh man, I had some good discussions with myself apparently exclusively there. Okay, so a lot of what I had been doing and talking about was with work. I have been making notes on different archetypes for this game while kind of like in the car waiting around, or either for the shift to start or afterwards. So for the spirit of the wolf here, our totem, I was working through kind of what it is to have the wolf spirit, or whatever you want to call it. And so that is going to give us the effects on 3 different ranks here. So I was thinking that our rank 1 ability is going to give bonus to our movement speed, and then I was also theorizing about either giving an initiative bonus or something of that sort. So said initiative bonus doesn't actually make sense for the Berserker, because the totem features come online while you are raging and you have multiple fury options. I mean, technically it's not while raging, but like, let's be real here. You're a Berserker, you're going to be raging in combat, because that's going to be your primary source of damage mitigation, and it's going to be your primary source of damage acceleration. It gives you a bonus to your damage, and it lets you perform fury effects. So while you have the Totem of the Wolf, your base movement speed increases by 10 feet. Additionally, you have advantage on melee weapon attacks against creatures who have not acted yet this round. That language comes in because we have our popcorn initiative system, so it's going to incentivize that you go earlier in the initiative count. rather than if you were instead just going to be like acting later. So it's going to give you more creatures that you can attack with advantage. Yes. So the next thing that we have is our 11 to 15 ability here. So while you have 11 to 15 Fury points, you have advantage on Perception, Wisdom ability checks that require your sense of smell and your hearing. We also chose to extend this further beyond the totem with the Heightened Senses feature here at 2nd level. Heightened Senses give you temporary hit points equal to your Berserker level. We actually also tweaked the Spirit of the Viper here to have their persistent temporary hit points after a Fury effect to also skew off of your Berserker level instead of the number of Fury points lost. So you gain temporary hit points equal to your Berserker level when your rage ends. While you have those temporary hit points, you gain advantage on Perception, Wisdom that rely on smell and hearing. And so this is also exclusively going to skew off of if you had 11 or more Fury, so you end the rage effect having advantage on Perception, Wisdom checks with sense and hearing, and then that carries forward until you lose those temporary hit points. So it's just a good way to carry narrative features outside of combat. So our next ability that we also wanted to include is we want more pack tactics sort of gameplay here. And so that is where pack warfare comes in. And we were borrowing a little bit from the duelist open feature and the warlord 4th level feature, whose name is eluding me right now because I am flustered at having spoken to myself into a microphone that was picking things up but wasn't transmitting it to the computer for an hour. So pack warfare is a way to give a flavor of tag team effects without necessarily giving like pack tactics, which is going to be a primarily animal-based feature. So when you take the tag team action on your turn, your ally does not need to spend a minor action to take a second major action on their turn. So it just makes it a little bit more easy for your ally to, have a heightened action economy for that round of combat. And then once you have used the tag team action, as per its standard use, it is unavailable to you until you complete a short rest. When you have no uses remaining, this is where something new comes in that we're stealing from the Warlord. You can expend 2d4 Fury to perform this action again. Now, 2d4 Fury, my worry here is if you're doing this at a low Fury count, per se, maybe 1. If you're doing this at 1 Fury, you shouldn't, but theoretically this can skew anywhere from 2 to 8 Fury points. So, a total number of 8 Fury points, if you're doing this at a low Fury, could wipe out all of your willpower and up to... Sorry, doing my math here. And up to 5 of your fatigue levels, pushing you straight to the doors of death. Which, on one hand, is something that you should have the choice to do, but on the other hand, it seems incredibly easy to push your character to 1 point away from death in combat. And so I wanted to cut back on that just a little bit here. So when you roll these dice, you reduce the number of Fury points expended. It used to be to a minimum of 1. I changed it to 2 because it's 2 dice. To a minimum of 2 by the number of allied creatures that you can perceive within your melee range. So you start with creatures by your side, and then you reduce the amount of Fury expended when you are recharging your pack warfare. So the more creatures you have around you, the more those creatures can act outside of your turns, and so it lends to this nice push-pull effect where you are boosting everyone's action economy around you, and you're working with your pack. Another big change that we've been kind of making around here is skewing a lot of things off of your melee range instead of just a standard 5 feet, so that the Berserker works better with things like pole arms and such. Our rage effect here, we've been working on. We mostly just copied it straight over from the core duelist feature, not duelist, core berserker feature. So a lot of this is standard rage mechanics. However, since it's our spirit rage, we also decided to give you the option of taking either fire or cold damage, your choice, and then you can swap those on an extended rest, which we pulled that text from the speaker and just kind of adapted it to this instance here. Similarly, we modified all of the rage damage options across the board for our spirit rages. So, our spirit rage for the bear is going to skew off of a maximum. So, like, here, let me just read the text. When you make a melee weapon attack using might, you gain a bonus to the damage roll equal to your current number of fury, maximum of your strength modifier. So we changed that to maximum of your strength or another ability score modifier, whichever is. Gets strength or constitution, whichever is higher. The raven gets strength or wisdom, whichever is higher. The viper gets strength or dexterity, whichever is higher. And the wolf gets strength or charisma, whichever is higher. From there, we actually expanded further onward with the wolf. So when you make an attack while you have at least 2 allied creatures that you can perceive within your melee range, your bonus increases to your current number of fury, maximum of your strength, plus your charisma modifier. So that functionally gets you a bonus of double, it's provided that your charisma is positive. So that's why I added this clause here of either of your ability score modifiers are less than 0, they are considered 0 for the purposes of calculating this ability's maximum. Excuse me. So that way, if you have a negative charisma, it counts as a 0 instead of counting as a -1 to your strength modifier of 5, which would give you a combined total of 4, which makes your bonus actually worse. So yes, that is that. So our second 5th level feature that I was working on here when I noticed that this was being an issue was Bloodlust, which is something that I am playing with in my friend Jacob's Strixhaven Adventuring Academy campaign. I am playing a Blood Hunter Order of the Lycan character, and so when I am bloodied, I have to roll checks at the start of my turn, or am kind of possessed by the primal spirit within me to attack an ally. Now, it is kind of a detriment in that campaign, but because I am one of our party's biggest damage dealers and our tank, it's this kind of will they, won't they, because I'm going to be on the front line and attacking people. Usually, if I'm bloodied, it doesn't matter because the nearest creature to me is an enemy, but sometimes it goes wrong. And it is a fun dynamic that I want to introduce into this class archetype here. So, Bloodlust. If you are bloodied at the start of your turn and raging with either your Berserker's Rage or your Spirit Rage, ... How do we do this? Can we make this work using our power roll tables? Well, let's see here. A tier 1 result would be what? You make the attack against your ally. A tier 4 result here would be no, you don't. What are these two middle options here? I don't personally know. And so sorry, I instead of kind of going through the belabored point of trying to figure out like if this is the option or not, I'm just kind of going through and hitting the conclusions that I had made previously. So you have these two options here. It's a binary thing, and we want this to kind of begin skewing upward a little bit, either the closer to death you get or the more fury you have. So like this spirit of the wolf is lashing out within you. So how do we do that? We use the kind of idea for our intervention table for the anointed class, where you have two scaling effects here. Oh my gosh, excuse me. And so based on your input, you either get advantage or disadvantage based on where on there you go. So that's going to increase what tier result you would get on a tier table here. But once again, we don't really have the two middle because it's a binary option. So when it is a binary option, the answer is unfortunately in this game that we skew towards target numbers. Now, I've been trying to remove target numbers from this game as many places as I can. Right now, it is exclusively living in the Pugilist class and the Wizard when determining wild magic surges, which is a very rare circumstance. So, given that this is a binary result, and we want this to skew up or down, I'm thinking that it might be beneficial to introduce target numbers as a bloodlust ability. So that's kind of the whole story of what's been going on. Yeah. Here, give me just 1 second. Yeah. Man, it genuinely frustrates me that I was streaming for an entire hour and my microphone was just not working. Seriously, if something like that happens, can please throw it into chat. I want to know. I want to make this stream a better experience for you. Right. So. Let me just see if... yeah, no, I'm not missing any chat, because, I mean, I've got it showing up on screen right there. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't... not seeing anything in my categories right now. Dang, that is... Man, I'm not happy about that. Genuinely. All things, I am very frustrated by that. Okay, so... Okay, so if you are bloodied at the start of your turn and are raging with either your Berserker's Rage or your Spirit Rage. Let's look at our current options for target number implementations here. Target number equal to 15 plus the spell's level. Success, it's cast without issue. Otherwise, random effect. Okay, so that's just a straight DC. It's not a skewing up or down DC, which is fair. Let me now look at the Pugilist. Where are you? Yeah, target numbers here. There we go. Okay, so stance ability. When you roll a skill challenge to maintain your stance, you make the check with your presence skill, and you can use your presence. Okay, so that sidebar is coming in late. At the start of each of your turns, you make a skill challenge with your stance ability to maintain the stance against a target number equal to 15 plus half your pugilist level rounded down. When you make this skill challenge, you gain a bonus to the roll equal to your current number of discipline points. On a success, you remain in your stance until the start of your turn. Okay, so we're gonna skew this very similar to pugilist stances. So we're just gonna go ahead and copy that text, just completely outright. Okay, so you make a skill challenge with your sanity intellect. Ugh. Would it be sanity? Yeah, I think it would be sanity. You make a sanity intellect skill challenge, ability challenge. Against a target number equal to 15 plus half your Berserker level rounded down. When you make this ability challenge, you gain a bonus to the roll equal based on your current number of, based on your current fury. On a success, you take your turn as normal. Take your turn as normal. If you fail your ability challenge, we don't need on a success. On a failure, you move directly toward the nearest creature and make a melee weapon attack against that creature. The attack benefits from, I mean, why would we don't need to say it benefits from all of your abilities because it would anyway. If you are charmed, when you make this ability challenge, you automatically fail if you are charmed when you make this ability challenge, you make the roll at disadvantage. Based on your current fury. You are charmed when you make this ability challenge. You do not gain this bonus. and make the challenge disadvantage tier 2. On a failure, you move directly toward the nearest creature and make a melee weapon attack against that creature. So that is going to be minor action and major action. If more than one creature is equally near to you, roll randomly to determine your target. If you are charmed, and one potential target is an allied creature, and one potential target would normally be an allied creature, you attack that creature. Once your attack is resolved, you regain control of yourself. Okay, so yeah, that is going to give us our bloodlust ability here while we are raging. So what we need to do now is we need to bring in the intervention table from the anointed. We need to fill that up with data. Yeah, this here is the table. So, current fury. Bonus. Alright, so our current fury is going to be what, in stacks of 5, I think. 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, yeah. 1 to 5, 6 to 10. So, I mean, once again, this is going to kind of work in conjunction with our totem. Just has a little bit extra tiers. 11 to 15. 16 to 20. 21 plus. Okay, so we don't need the colons if we're going to be... And then do we put spaces in there? Nah. Okay. You have advantage tier 2 on the result, the ability challenge. Hang on, this should be inverted. So if you have 21 plus fury, you have... No, this is right. Yeah, so the more fury you have, the worse you're probably going to do. Okay. I definitely was putting this in backwards, but I'm glad it actually worked out with what I was thinking. I guess this is one of those instances where you really shouldn't say anything if you're not confident in it. Oh, well, whatever. Let me go ahead and jump over to the wizard here so that I can claim the sidebar for the target numbers, just because, once again, target numbers are not going to exist within the core rules. They're exclusively going to exist within sidebars. Because once again, I don't want this to be a supported style of gameplay for game masters to be giving out challenges with target numbers. I want them to be using tables. But for a couple of these classes, they're going to have things that skew off of target numbers. As a spirit of the wolf Berserker, you use target numbers when resisting the effects of bloodlust. You roll your core dice like a standard ability challenge and compare the result target number to determine whether or not you maintain control of your faculties while bloodied. Thank you for jumping there. Accidental keystroke. There we go. Okay, so that is going to be bloodlust there. And while normally, yes, I don't think wolves are necessarily bloodlusted, I do want to throw a bit of the spirit of the wolf here into this whole... It's kind of a werewolf. Like, on one hand, it's not. You're not actually transforming. Though, theoretically, it's a transformation sort of thing. It's a stance-based class. I don't see why you couldn't flavor it that way. I just kind of want to add this feature in because it is incredibly thematic. It is nice and flavorful. And yeah, I think it works quite well with the theming of the class, even if it's not inherently related to wolves as an animal. I think it's a little bit more of a wild Berserker archetype. Though maybe in playtesting this could become a little bit of, what do you call it, detrimental gameplay, because you could be like the rest of this class is the rest of this class is benefiting you from being near allies, and so if you go bloodlusted here, you have more allies near you to attack, which, I mean, on one hand, that does throw a bit more danger into it. I don't know. It's going to require play testing to see if this is a viable strategy. Okay, so now we have our class capstone feature to design here. Oh boy, oh boy. I'm so mad about that whole microphone thing, honestly. Genuinely am mad about that. So our 8th level, let's look at, because this is something that I didn't quite get to in my notes. Let's go ahead and look at our analogs here. So at 8th level, our bear gets ferocious retaliation, which is you make a stronger opportunity attack function. Spirit of the Raven gets, I believe it's just you straight up get a fly speed. Yep. Spirit of the Viper, you get a stronger teleport. Yeah, cast Blood upon the Roots, you get plane shift or teleport, and Serpent guides those who wander the roots. I do remember we wanted to kind of lean back a little bit from the Jormungandr style of lore there. Okay, so Spirit of the I mean, I could. There's a part of me here that wants to say exalted melee basic attacks, but I think exalting attacks is wrong for this class. Once again, we do have the option for improved. So I know one of the things we did with, I believe it's Oath of Sharpened Fang, and I am told that I'm a liar. It was not Oath of Sharpened Fang. I believe it was Oath of Field. We have Resolute basic attacks. So this was kind of a step up, once again, from the improved melee basic feature, which would give you 2, 3, 3, 4. It just that these resolute ones allow you to perform a flourish on all of your attacks. So I think that that's probably going to be our 8th level feature. So you just always can take wound. We should give this a better name. By Pack's teeth. So hang on, let's go back to Oath of Fealty. Let's also just do this. Why are some of these so weird? Okay, is Oath supposed to be on heading 4? What? Okay, so hang on. These then should be by on 5. Yeah, so this one's just weird. Okay. I don't know why. Okay. Well, I'm glad we found that to fix. But since it was straight from here, I think it was just a mistake. I mean, I make those. Okay, you're 4, and all of your abilities are 5. Wow, that is... Oh. Okay, so if we're doing it that way, which I think we should, once again, I like that. And I think we should also do that same sort of thing for improved basic attacks. Okay, so Anointed here is going to... What do we call improved basic attacks? I mean, okay, so what do we call this? This is a blade that is... What is it? What are you? I mean, you are an improved melee basic attack. Steel cuts. Steel with divine. Deal with divine revelation. Revelatory steel. Ooh. Sure. Okay, so Berserker also gets improved basic attacks. I am thinking just calling it cleave. I think that's kind of funny. It could just be something along the lines of like, I tear you apart. I mean, we have devastating strikes as a thing later on. Crush. I mean, we could do something like, my foes are weak but beneath my blade. All crumble beneath my blade. Let's see here. All crumble beneath my rage. That seems good. Okay, so Duelist, I believe, also as a melee focused class, you get. Nope. Duelist as a class mostly doesn't exist, which makes my job a little easier. I need to take a quick bathroom break. I will be right back. All right, I am back, and it looks like I've got my microphone all plugged in, so like everything should be working here. Okay, so pugilist here. We're renaming the basic attacks here. I mean, do we just call it flurry of blows? I mean, we've got. Okay, so ranger, or called, does not get. Yeah, they're not going to get improved. There we go. Rogue is mostly unfinished. Speaker, why would they? Yeah, that's on the Berserker table. I don't know. Anointed, yes. Their table, yes. Yes, yes, yes. It is on the Berserker table, yep. Yep, 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 oh, yep, oh. Okay. Flurry of blows, yep. Okay, Warlord does get it at 4th, though. Perhaps. No. Interesting. That feels odd, but I figure that it's going to play into. Let's just go ahead and make a comment. Warlords do not innately have improved basic attacks. Make sure that special attacks accommodate this shortcoming. There we go. All right. Where were we? Okay, so alright, so that is the spirit of the wolf here. Honestly, I think we're in a pretty good spot with it. I think I'm gonna close up this stream here, especially due to the technical difficulties. And then we'll probably do another stream later today, working on some other stuff. Honestly, it might not even be later today. It might just be in like an hour or so. So yeah, I will see you in the next stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am so sorry about all of the technical difficulties today. I promise we'll do better next time.